Ghosty fam, welcome to The Activity Continues, a podcast where three soul friends talk about all things paranormal, ghosts, hauntings, psychics, movies and TV shows, especially the Dead Files, and other spooky and spooky adjacent things as well. I'm Amy, producer and co-host. I'm here with the other Amy, or AP, or Amy P. And we also like to interview people in the paranormal community as well as past Dead Files clients and other interesting people. Sometimes we even tell you our stories. But for this episode, we are joined by Dawn McClain, radio show and podcast host locally here in Minnesota. And since Amy P set up this meeting, I will let her tell you what Dawn is all about.
Hey everyone, AP here. Dawn McClain has been somebody I've listened to on the radio on a radio station locally here called My Talk. And she used to be in the mornings, but now is in the middle of the day, so noon to 3. And that's my it's like my way of telling what time of day it is and where I'm at and what's going on. She's just kind of fun to listen to, and hearing her talk about her investigations more and more since I listen to her a little bit more often now on those days. It was kind of cool just to hear her say, like, yeah, we kind of have the skeptic view of it, and we try to find things out with science, and we're not screaming at the ghosts like some people we've heard of. And that was my interpretation of that. And but really kind of going through and trying to help people in the way that we've all fallen in love with the Dead Files of Amy and Cindy doing their best to help people along the way. And Dawn shares a lot of great stories with us, and just kind of felt that connection. Like she's somebody we could talk to for forever, because just a lot of things, if you've listened to us before, we just chit chat constantly about everything, and we do derail just a little bit here and there.
Just a little bit.
So a little bit about Dawn. Dawn has been a paranormal investigator for about 17 years. She hosts an entertainment talk radio show on My Talk 1071 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and is the host of a couple of podcasts. She also would rather be a vampire than a werewolf. Dawn is a gamer, left-handed, pretty weird, and a former skydiver, and recently started seeing dead people. That was not something we wrote. That's what she wrote about herself.
She gave that to us.
Content warning, mostly we swear.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anything, everybody has their own opinions on things. So I know there might be some things people will disagree with as we talk through, but everybody is entitled to their way of thinking on this, because we don't have any way to really know.
We really don't know. Yeah.
So
yeah, we had a great time talking with her. We're recording this after, but yeah, we had a really fun time. She's a lot of fun. She's hilarious and cool and one of us. And so she has agreed to come on again another time, because we shot the shit for so long, and then we
didn't ask
look
half
at the
time.
Questions. Yeah. And then I went back to our document where we all put our questions in, and I was like, oh, we got to some of that, but not all of it. So I think we'll have to have her back on again.
So I'd say if you think you have a question afterwards, after you listen to this episode, send it in to theactivitycontinues@gmail.com, and maybe we'll get a chance to read those questions to her.
Yeah, that would be great. That's a great idea.
Thanks. I'm good at
that. Enjoy, everyone.
Hi, Dawn.
Hello, Dawn.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I feel like I'm like the head in a mirror. Like there's nothing behind me.
Hi, Wesley.
How does this audio sound?
It sounds good.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't sound too tinny
it sounds a little echoey.
Okay.
And like when we were just logging in now and we were all checking that, Amy sounded a little funny, and she's like, I know I picked the right one, but when she went back into Zoom, the wrong mic was picked. So I think Zoom is doing some weird stuff. They just did a new update, so it could be something weird like that. Maybe it picked your wrong mic.
It's the gremlins again, Amy.
Yeah. I lit my incense and I told all the bad ones they had to go away and all the good ones could stay.
Yes.
I just realized that my ring light has 3 settings. I thought it only had 2.
Oh,
so
that looks better. You don't look like a floating head.
Well, maybe that's the look I was going for, and now it's ruined.
Sorry. Put it back.
So I can't work under these conditions.
I was the one that was messaging you on Instagram because I listen to you and Bradley every day.
Oh, good. Okay.
So
yes.
We've got some shenanigans.
She's the one
of
that
our
set
own.
it up. I'm Amy.
Hi. I'm
The
Amy.
Floating head is Megan.
I'm Megan.
And Wesley's about to join us shortly. I'm sorry,
I
guys.
was-
He's going to do it.
I was watching the EVPs at work in the middle of the day. Okay. Scared. Just scared. I'm like, I can't.
It was creepy because they
It
were
was
really like, you know how like on Ghost Hunters and stuff, they play something and they're like, here's what you're supposed to hear. And I listen and I'm like, I don't hear that.
I don't this
That's not what I'm
was
supposed that's not
clear.
what I hear.
Yeah.
But these were.
Yeah, I picked those because they were some of the most clear ones that I have. So, yeah.
I literally got goosebumps in the middle of the office. It was like literally I messaged the group and it was like 2:00. And I'm like, I'm scared.
At work in the middle of the day.
I love
Fluorescent
that.
lights all around. Just
Yes.
And I was like, but they're not mean. They don't seem to be
no,
saying
they're not
anything
mean.
They
Doesn't
just-
matter.
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, there's one. Are you talking about the video or
The video was
The
great.
video, yeah. The video is
Okay.
what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, a long shot of 2 years. That's not, yeah. Well, I figured. I mean, you think that it will go that far? That's what we're gonna find out. You know, it didn't go so far with the right of way. Yeah. Give a shit. No. Happy Pride. No, no. We all are. And no, there's a way you can snap, there's a way you can snapshot. I don't have, I'm not doing anything with this camera. Low. Where are you? Nope, I got one. Whoa, I do. I have one actually. My Darth Vader pencil case.
They fell on other things. You know, near 20 solar levels falling and breaking glass. That would feel like someone was breaking in. Right? Yeah.
Yep, remember where Farmington States was a huge drill trying to keep their life and they got it broke.
Yep.
Just try hanging yourself in the closet.
Oh my gosh.
It was a good thing.
Yeah.
If we want to do upstairs, I'm always going to do a short session. We can, and if you want back here or whatever. I'm going to bring this back up. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Bobby. Bobby. Look at this. Bobby. It's completely going off right now. Bobby. Bobby. It went all the way to red. Huh? I just went Bobby, and this went all the way to red. Yeah.
Bobby.
Bobby, look at this. You want this?
Yeah. That's that. Well, we don't have to get into it right now. We can.
We can. I mean, we can just we're rolling. We can go.
Usually
We're
we
rolling.
just
Yeah, we're
usually
rolling.
we
We're
just
recording. We can
bullshit
do
and
whatever.
the conversation flows. It's typically not like a interview type. We just
Oh
converse.
yeah, I've listened to a couple episodes. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, okay, good.
Definitely. I've had
And
to
you're
prepare
still
for-
here? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
They
still
must have been good
so
ones. They must
We've
have been
got
really
AP
good ones.
and Amy, and then the Meg.
Yep.
The Megan.
Right.
Now, Megan, you are not a skeptic, right?
No.
You believe
I will
everything.
believe.
Believes
Oh
it.
my God, I believe everything.
I loved that when you said it. It
Yeah.
was great.
You
And
can
then,
tell me the sky is purple, and I'll be like, oh my God, why? Like, is it from the clouds? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Moisture
And
content.
Amy AP is like, look up, it's fucking blue.
Yes.
And Amy's like, well, I could believe it's purple, but
I'm
can
the
you
middle
show me
one.
some
I'm the-
evidence?
I'm
You're in the
the
middle.
I'm the I
Yes.
want to believe all of it, but I am a little skeptical.
Sure.
Megan believes everything.
Everything.
And AP is the like the logical voice of reason, that
But
kind of.
Up
I've
until
I've
like,
had my own experiences, but I do have I like my
guys-
brain likes to find logic to
Mhm.
connect things. So I
Yeah.
think Dawn, I was listening to you and Bradley when it was the project down in Dirty Stuff, and you guys were talking through things that you had experienced, and I heard you say like, yeah, well, we always look for the scientific explanation or some sort of
Mhm.
explanation for something, and I was like, I connect to that so
Mhm.
much.
I don't, but I thought Blair Witch was a documentary until like 6 years ago. Like, I'm not even joking you.
Six months ago.
Shut up. It was at least a year.
When it
I
first
legit
came
was-
out, though, I saw it the first weekend because that's how
Did
old
too.
I am.
Did it
Yeah, me
scare
too.
you? Because it
Yeah, nobody knew
terrified
that
me.
it wasn't a documentary. I'll say that. Like
I
if you saw it in the
cr- it-
theater,
Mhm.
Yeah.
It
I-
was
it still
so
made me-
scary.
It was still scary, and it still made me really uneasy because of the shaky camera and everything.
yeah.
So I got like a little
Was that more motion
discombobulated.
sickness?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was still really scary, even though I knew it was not a
See,
documentary.
I didn't know that.
They
The
did
end,
market
though,
it.
they did.
They
did a
marketed it
great
as
job.
A found footage. That's the first
They
found
did.
footage,
Uh-huh.
horror
yeah.
movie that I remember.
Right.
So
Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
so scary. It was
that
so
was a big
scary.
deal at the time.
Oh my God. When at the end, when they find him standing in the corner.
oh, that is freaky.
Oh my
Mhm.
God. So my best friend now, we're still friends. We were friends in 4th grade, and for her birthday party, she watched that. I don't think it was her 4th grade birthday party. It was probably like 6th or 7th. I stayed up in the kitchen and talked to her mom the entire movie because I was so scared. I couldn't. And her mom is great, and we have a great relationship, but that's what I did.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
got to do whatever you can to get through it, you know?
That's right. It's
And
tough.
yet it fascinates me. Like ghosts and hauntings, believe in them 130%. They scare even when they're nice ghosts, they still scare me. A couple weeks ago, Dawn, I know, I'm sorry, I'm totally hijacking this, but
Oh my God, no, it's fine.
I was driving home and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
a nice day out. So my windows were down and I'm on 694. I don't know if do you live around here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm-
So I was
yeah, I
on
live in Woodbury.
694
Mhm.
and I was heading 694 west towards Brooklyn Center where I live. And clear as day, I heard a male voice in my ear say, hello. So clear that I whipped around thinking somebody was standing outside my car because I was going slow, rush hour.
That's
Crystal clear. And I called Amy and I was like, I'm so sorry I'm calling you. 'cause she keeps talking
I'm
on
not
the
a phone person, so when people
But
call me, they're always
I
like, "I'm so
have
sorry,
to
I'm calling you."
preface-
texted me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I am terrified. Like there was a ghost in my ear. I honestly thought it was my husband
Yeah.
because it sounded just like him. And I've had mimic experiences
yeah.
before.
Mm,
So
mhm.
I literally called Amy L and I'm like, there's a fucking ghost in my ear. Like,
Yeah. It happened.
crystal clear.
Yeah. I mean,
I literally thought somebody was standing outside my car window.
yeah,
It
that
was
is
clear.
really,
That wasn't clear.
I don't like that.
Did you get that? It was crystal clear.
I am
did
crystal
I-
clear on this.
I don't know. It was a little muddy.
You guys are mean to me. I'm
So
just drinking my
easy.
hot chocolate.
So easy. Sorry,
That's
Dawn.
fair,
What
it
were you
is
gonna
easy.
say?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dawn.
No, it's fine. I have had mimic experiences before. It's like they'll use someone's voice in the room.
Yes.
Which I don't know what that's about. Like,
I don't like
what are you
it.
doing? Yeah. And as far as like, hearing things. There are sometimes when we're doing an investigation where, I mean, we are like on high alert. It's why we
Mhm.
turn the lights off, really. It's just so that we can cut off all of our senses, really.
Oh,
Oh
That has
my
been a question a lot of people
God.
have asked
Oh,
and have been curious about, and we've talked about it a little bit, but like, why is it always at
That-
night? Why is it
Yes.
dark?
okay. The
Oh
night
makes
my
a lot of
thing
God.
for
That
us, the
makes
night
sense.
thing is purely just for sound contamination purposes, because in the
Oh,
day you have more
smart.
cars and stuff.
Yes.
So
Mm.
that's why it's, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you can get things in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not
Oh,
really just to reduce the amount of, because we are a skeptical team, the team I'm on, Twin Cities Paranormal
Well, if-
Society. So we are like,
Hmm.
we are not, we have a varying degrees of skeptics on our team. We have hardcore, like everything is like, yeah, that wasn't, and you're like, dude, come
Greg.
on.
is Greg on your team?
My husband is a huge
Is
skeptic.
Greg on your team? Because that's a Greg thing. He could literally see a full body apparition, have a
And he'd
conversation
be
with
like,
it.
"Mhm,
He'd
I
be like,
believe
that wasn't real. That
We
was
have
a-"
some Gregs for sure.
Mine is so skeptical that he wouldn't even be on a team because he loves the stuff though. He loves watching like
Yeah.
ghost hunters and all that kind of stuff. But
For me, since I've been in radio forever,
Mhm.
it's the audio that I enjoy. Like
Mm,
EVPs are what I'm into because they're talking. Like to me,
Yes.
like we will never go into, if people call us in, we're never going to we don't have like a big red stamp that says your house is haunted. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like
myth.
Maybe you
busted.
should get one. Christmas.
it's hilarious.
But it's coming up.
it's really just like we always go through all of the other possible things that
Right.
aren't paranormal that it could be. And if
Mhm.
there is a logical explanation for it, if it could be a car, if it could be a dog outside, then we're like, we have to throw that out.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, and some people get
Right.
frustrated with that, but what we're trying to do is make people feel okay in their home, because a lot of
Mhm.
people are
Yeah.
pretty scared when they call us. So if we can find out, we have all different kinds of investigators that have HVAC experience and like,
Oh, that's awesome.
electricians, because you want to know like, oh, okay, well that's
Right.
actually just your, air conditioner
Pipes
coming.
or,
Yeah,
you know.
it's the ice maker or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Oh
a
my
few
God, our
years
ice maker's
ago,
terrible.
I lived in St. Paul, not St.
Yeah.
Cloud, St. Paul. And I went to a meetup, and it was a paranormal investigation team. I don't think it was Twin Cities, because I don't remember
Probably not.
you, but they came to my house. I think it was Dakota County Paranormal Society
Okay.
or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did it because I had been haunted for years.
Mm-hmm.
And they found out who the guy was, and they communicated with him and sent him on. And I'm like, this is so cool that you
That's
guys
great.
do that.
Yeah, we do that too, or we try. We can't guarantee that they're going to
Right.
leave, because you
Right.
can't make them leave if they don't
No,
want to
you
leave.
can't.
Right.
I mean, if they've been here for hundreds of years, who am I to tell them get out of here? Like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I've only been here for this many years on
Right.
Earth, and
It's a
Yeah.
blip in their radar. I mean,
for sure, yeah.
Mhm.
So we do our best with what we know, and I
Mhm.
always encourage people, because I'm the one on the team that does the clearings.
Mhm.
I always say, like, please do not encourage this. Like, don't talk to it anymore. Don't
Mm.
acknowledge it. Like, don't continue.
That's what
Don't make me come out here
yes.
and do this and then
Mhm.
continue to engage with this.
Engage.
You got to just like move on.
Mhm.
Especially, I have a real sensitivity to how people talk about this kind of stuff around their kids.
Yeah.
I really just want people to be aware, like our little kids' minds, they're full of imagination. And
Mhm.
I was scared to death as a kid with things going on in my house, but my parents didn't ever go, oh, let me, I just think I'm not telling anybody what to do. I just really want people to not just lean into this as around your kids. Like, please be careful. I always say how you talk to your kids about this, unless they're super psychic, and, then it's like, well, they already see them right now in front of them. So,
Yeah.
Mine are just dogs. So yes, they probably know everything that's there.
yeah, they see it before you do.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, it's fun when you're sitting there and all of a sudden like one is just staring off and you're
Mhm.
like, what's
Oh,
over
yeah.
there?
I hate it
Why are
when
you
they
still
do
looking
that.
over there?
I
You've been
hate
staring there for
it.
like 3 minutes.
It
Yeah.
scares the shit out of me.
I
Because
used to
there's
have a cat
something
that
there.
did that all the time. She'd
Yeah,
be
my
like looking
cat's-
at me and then she'd look beyond me and go,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Great.
Like,
You're
look
like,
at me. I'm like, knock it up.
In the Middle East, my 2 cats would do that. Every apartment I lived in. They
you were
would
in
just
the Middle East?
Yeah, for 2.5 years I taught English in Bahrain.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
yes, but they would always look in the same spot.
Megan, didn't
And-
you have somebody who was looking out for you kind of thing?
I did.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was Frank, my farmer from Wisconsin. That was the
But
ghost
the one
that
that the team let go.
Yeah, they moved him on, but he stuck with me because I reminded him of his sister. And
Mm.
so he was from Wisconsin in the 1800s. And yeah, I really think he got me out of situations that might have been bad otherwise. There was one in particular. So when I moved back from the Middle East, I moved to Madison, Wisconsin, and I was driving
course,
to get,
you know,
of course
where
I
else
did.
would you move?
Right. What, I can't think of another place. And I was driving to get my new Wisconsin license plate because I'm a law-abiding citizen. And this girl got in my car and she was like, "Can I get a ride?" And she literally just got in my seat and I was like,
Wait a
"Okay."
minute. So you saw her?
Yeah.
Do you see full-bodied apparitions?
No. She was real. She was
Oh.
real. And she
Are you
got
sure,
in my
though?
car.
Are you sure?
She opened the door. I mean,
Well, she
she
didn't walk
opened
right
the
through it.
door
All right.
and sat down
Did
and
she
she
ask
goes,
to be
"Can I
dropped
get a
off at a
ride?"
cemetery?
No, but she asked for a ride and I said, "Okay, sure." And then she stopped. She had a backpack on and she stopped a minute and she looked at me and she said, "This is a really bad idea," and got out of
Oh.
my car and walked away.
Oh.
So
she was scared of you.
I don't know
Or-
if she was scared of me or if she
or
was going to do
Frank.
something to me and Frank persuaded her not to, or if I don't know, but
Wow.
that was one that sticks with me, that maybe he was there and he made her
Yeah.
get out.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe he pulled her hair or something. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe, yeah, who knows what he did. But no, he was with me for, gosh, 6 years, maybe 7 years.
Mm,
Everywhere I
yeah.
went. It was scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have someone
But-
with me.
Yeah.
And
Do you see
He's
him?
actually in the video. That's the voice that you hear.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
What does he say?
Here's the thing. He's pervy, and that's what I don't
Okay.
like. He's
Yeah,
like,
no.
Mhm.
when I bend over on the camera footage, he'll go, "Oh yeah." Like that's what he does. And I
Sir.
first heard that voice at a restaurant that we investigate, and
Yeah.
then he got attached to me. I don't know,
Is that-
but I'm tired of it. Let me tell you something. Like,
Oh my God.
I don't want you and anytime I'm around on recordings, people get that voice on their voice
Mm.
recorders. And so
Rude.
I'm pretty sure it's attached to me.
Yeah.
And like it'll comment on like, yeah, bend over and just yeah.
No.
like
Rude.
if he's watching me in the shower, like honestly, like when my boyfriend isn't home, if he's on a trip,
Uh-huh.
there was a time where I just felt weird and I'm like, okay, if you're here, I don't need you to make yourself known. And so I shut their bedroom doors like tight where it just clicked and you'd have to turn it to open it.
Mhm.
And we didn't have any air conditioner on or anything. It wouldn't have done that. And so I'm like, I don't want you to be here. Like, please go. And when I woke up in the morning, when I came out of the bedroom, every door was open.
Of course.
Goodbye.
Mhm.
And
Nope,
I'm like,
move.
knock it off. You need to leave. You know, I don't know if I can make people leave or I can maybe do it for other people, but apparently not for myself.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So yeah.
I would have shat my pants and
Do you,
there would
do
have
you-
been a Megan-shaped hole in the wall.
Yeah.
do you have any idea who he is?
I don't actually.
Have you tried asking him when you're doing recordings?
No, I haven't, but he seems to have just a one-track mind. It's
Uh-huh.
very like observational. Like he just makes
Most men
comments.
do.
He doesn't really answer back or like I haven't really tried to communicate with him. But I've had it. Like I need to find a medium that I know is
Mhm.
real.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Legit,
have
yeah.
somebody move him on, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that is difficult for me to trust no offense to mediums out there,
Mhm.
because I have some abilities, but I just don't know. And it's not like I'm like, ooh, prove it to me. It's just, I feel crappy for even
Mhm.
saying that,
Mhm.
but I don't want to invest money in something that,
Yeah.
It's a trust thing that you
It
have.
is.
Yep.
yeah,
And
And it's hard because how many mediums out there are saying I'm a medium, but they're really not.
Right.
And
I
then
mean,
they're
I've gone
charlataning
to
people, and
a
I made that a
couple.
verb, but
Yeah, I've gone to a couple, and one I have a really good connection with, and like I feel like I've known that person. So to me, like when we started talking and some of the things that she said to me right away when we first met, she knew my first name. That's
Yeah.
it. That was it. And some of the things that connected and have since been things that have, she sits down and says, like, you still have free will. You have all of these. She's a psychic intuitive. And so you have free will, you have choice, you could take a path, but here are some options that may present themselves. Things came to fruition that would not have thought about. But another one I went to, others had a connection to her. I was like, I don't even know what any of that was.
Mhm.
None of
Yeah,
that made
and-
sense to me.
And I really want to be careful about the way I talk about this because I don't want anyone to get offended.
Right.
Mhm.
So if
And
you're
we're-
listening and you're a medium, I'm not talking about you, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we go to events sometimes that are, I was at an event once where we were in a room and a lot of mediums were there, and it was like the battle of the mediums. They were like, I
Mm.
see her, she died in the bathtub, she did a drug, and I'm like, oh my God. And then this lady's other one's like, no, it's this, and it's kind of like,
That sounds
and plus,
exhausting.
I really do feel like maybe some of them, it's just a channel that they could be tuning into, and they can't tune
Mhm.
into your channel.
Mhm.
Yep.
And
That
maybe
makes
that's
sense.
it too. Yeah.
So no
Yeah,
offense to
that's a good
them.
way to describe
and,
it.
you know, I started having abilities just like a year and a half ago after
Wow.
being an investigator for about 15 years.
Wow.
Wow.
So what happened is that it's usually in the garage when I'm putting my shoes on, because we keep all of our shoes out in the garage. And I was
very cleanly
putting on
of
my
you.
shoes and I saw in my mind's eye, I don't see full bodied anything.
Mhm.
My mother does, but I don't.
Mm.
But I saw in my mind this tall man in a brown suit. I can see him, mustache, old timey,
Mhm.
like early 1900s probably.
Mhm.
And then I just got the name Percival in my head.
Oh.
And then I happened to go to a psychic fair, I don't know, like a month later. And I went to two different psychics and I liked both of them. One of them, I sat down and I was like, I don't know, there's weird stuff happening to me. I saw this guy and I described him. And I mean, she hadn't even done a reading on me yet. And I go, and he looked like this and his name was Percival. And she just like flew her chair back and she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, he's got a brown, yeah. And she's like, my great uncle's name is Percival, or he was, and we share a birthday, and I'm writing a book about him.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
God.
And I go, oh, well, I guess he wants you to keep doing it. Like, I get people, I would never be able to be a real medium
Yeah.
because I don't know who some people are connected to that I
Yeah.
see and that come to me.
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't know who you are. What? So there's like a guy from the hotel in downtown Minneapolis that I see him. His name is Jeremy. He is a businessman. He's looking on his laptop. He died in the room. I think I know the room number or at least the floor, and he doesn't know what happened to him, and he just keeps searching.
That's
know?
really sad.
But I don't know who. So I'm like
Right.
Googling. I'm like, did somebody die in this hotel? And they did. A man died. The report didn't say his name. It was like from 10 years ago. But like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
Right.
What do I do with that? Ask the
Yeah.
police if I can get the name? Like,
Right. Like, how
and then
does
what do I
hi,
say?
Yeah.
You don't
and then
know
it's
me,
just like,
but
oh, to his
right.
family. Oh, just so you know, he's trapped in that room. Great. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super
Did
helpful.
you have any of those experiences when you were younger? Because if you said your mom sees full body apparitions, there's,
Yeah.
something.
And she never said this to me. Like, she just told me this like 5 years ago that she saw a ghost in our kitchen, just like right in front of her.
Mhm.
I
Like
again
she can
shit my
describe the
pants.
pattern of her dress, you
Oh
know?
my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
And I did have a lot of fear as a child.
Mhm.
So in my bedroom, I just felt something in the closet.
Mhm.
And that sounds like, I mean, you know, you're like, well, of course, every kid thinks that there's something in their closet, but it would keep me awake like almost all night.
Oh, man.
And
Mhm.
I would try to make friends with them, kind of gaslight these ghosts into like, be like, oh, it's Dracula and Frankenstein, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was
They're
just
like, no,
"You're
my
friend."
name's Steve. And you're like, no, it's
Yeah.
Dracula.
Yeah. So I remember like just getting on my rollerblades and skating to tire
Mm.
myself out so I could go to sleep
Like
at night.
sleep.
Oh
Mhm.
Just
my
like,
God.
please, I just want to go to sleep, you know. And I
Mhm.
would say my prayers out loud and just
Mhm.
keep going and keep
Yep.
going because I just didn't want to go to sleep. And my parents are like, oh my gosh, she's on her third cousin now, blessing them, you know.
Boy, she is
It's like,
devout.
God bless Karen. And, you know,
And
so,
thank you for this chair in my room
yeah, exactly.
that collects my clothes.
Yeah.
It's very strong. And
Do any
bless
of
the
your-
woodworker who made the chair in my room.
Yeah. So
Do-
I think, and then my mom later told me that like, oh yeah, I have a daughter, and whenever we would be over there, and like my mom would babysit, and
Mhm.
she's like, oh yeah, well down that hall where the bedroom is, I would every time I would put, you know, her to bed, I would sit back down on the couch, and then I was looking down the hall. I always saw a shadow passing by, like it was going in there to, you know, and my mom's like, just to protect her and watch over her. And I'm like, okay,
Sure.
but
Sure.
okay,
Oh.
if
Let's
that's
tell
what you wanna
ourselves that. Yeah.
believe. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I've always had maybe some, I just thought everybody
Mhm.
Yeah.
picked up on this stuff, but
Right.
Mhm.
Did
They
any of your
don't, and it's
other
weird.
family members? Because I know you've talked about on the show before, like sisters, right?
no, I do have a couple of sisters, but my mom has seen some things and heard some things, and my actually one of my first cousins is
Okay.
psychic. So, and then she told me, she was like, "You do know that our great grandma, they called her a witch," and I'm like, "What?"
Okay.
And she's
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Yeah, they like she was known as
Mhm.
like a fortune teller and a witch."
That is
back
so
in the day.
cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Could your
Wow.
cousin get rid of your pervy guy?
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe she's in California. That's where I'm from. So
Yeah.
I
Nice.
maybe I could ask her.
So what brought you to Minnesota?
Doing radio.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't the
But
snow.
I it's through
Or the
so we're
frozen
from-
tundra.
yeah. We're from Southwest Missouri actually, because
Okay.
my parents moved us from California there, and like when I was, you know, kindergarten. So I feel like I'm a Missourian, you know.
Mhm.
So about 7 years ago I
Now,
moved
is
up
it
here.
Missouri or Missouri?
Only politicians say Missouri.
Okay.
They're trying to
Really?
you know, with the farmers and I've never heard a real person say
Okay.
Missouri.
Okay.
But you
You
can
heard it
say
here,
misery.
folks.
Misery.
Yes, yes, yes.
You heard it here, folks. It's Missouri.
It's
Yep.
Missouri.
Yeah.
So I do want to know, like, how did you get involved? I know you've been in radio and event production and that sort of stuff. How did you get involved in like the paranormal and the investigation type? Because obviously the three of us have our interest peak. I think two of us would go and do ghost hunts.
The
One
third one who
would,
would
but-
not is not me. It is me. I would not go because I'm so scared
Okay.
that something is going to
I'd go
attach to
right
me
now.
again.
And have you ever had an item go completely missing because of a ghost? Because I'm pretty
That's
sure
Amy.
one at Lutzen did for me.
Oh.
And also, how do you, I'm sorry, we're throwing questions at you, but how do you like go and not have things attached to you
Well, I
other than
usually-
Pervy McGee?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I usually I used to always do prayers.
Mm,
I grew up Catholic, and so, you know,
same.
every now and then I will go to church because I get scared. It's very rare, but if stuff starts happening, I'm like, oh God. So I will say
Literally.
a series of prayers, and like, I'm only here for light and love, and you need to stay here. Like when I leave a place, I always say, you cannot come with us. Like we all say that, like you have to stay here. And, you know, most of the time they agree. I don't really remember doing that, you know, around this period of time where this guy attached to me.
Mhm.
How I got into it, I was doing actually in Missouri, I was doing a live broadcast at a haunted house of all places, like,
Really?
yeah, like Valley Scare type,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
not a theme park, but and a paranormal team had a booth there and they were just like, we just wanted to tell people about us and they let us come out here and this is our equipment. And I was like, oh wow, cool. And they're like, do you want to come on an investigation? And I was like, sure. And then I got hooked into
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. So
Fun.
that's
That
how
is
I started.
awesome.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for I think 15 years or so.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Is
So
there
I
a
moved
place
to
that you've done that's really like sticks out at you as like a super intense experience, or, on the
Yeah.
opposite of that, a dud? Is there anything where that just
Oh.
sticks out to you?
Yeah. So we try to go to big locations around the country that,
Mhm.
all the shows have been to. We try to go on a big trip every year.
hmm
There is an old prison called Moundsville Penitentiary in West
God, it's
Virginia.
always the
Mhm.
prison.
It's West Virginia State Penitentiary.
Oh, okay.
That is pretty darn creepy. I mean,
Yeah.
they had riots, like there was a huge riot. They killed people, like
Yeah.
they
Mm.
put people's heads on spikes. There was
Oh,
overcrowding.
I
It
It was
was
think
the
I
shut
heard
down
inmates.
this
for
one.
Yeah.
overcrowding. It
Yeah.
was bad.
It was the inmates that had a full riot,
Mhm.
and then
They did.
some of the guards and things got killed.
Yeah, they took
Yep.
them hostage and
Yep.
demanded things because it really was inhumane.
Yes.
I mean, the space that you see in those cells, and they would put 3 people in them. I don't even remember the
Wow.
footage, but you can look it up
It's
on
like
their
6 by
website.
8.
It's so, yeah. And also that was where the show Castle Rock, part of the scenes for Shawshank
Oh,
were
okay.
filmed there.
Okay.
And also another movie. Yeah. So anyway, they use it for filming now, and
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it's still open. The military or the National Guard actually uses it for training
Okay.
for if they do need to go into a prison or any other
Mhm.
Mm, okay.
situation.
So there's no inmates in it now.
Oh no. It is
No.
completely dark. I mean, you should see the pictures. It's enormous. It's huge.
hmm
So that one is where I get the most feeling. I mean, we
Mhm.
definitely got a lot of, I mean, they will communicate with you there.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cells. Sorry, I dropped my phone apparently, and my camera went out.
Okay.
Uh-huh. All the
The
time.
camera is
But-
very touchy.
It's
It-
super
it-
touchy.
Has a problem of its own.
You blink
cell-
wrong and it's like, I'm falling, and you're like,
The
I didn't
cell
even touch
sizes
you.
were 5 by 7.
5 by 7. Yeah.
So
Wow.
6 by 8 would have been giving them a lot more space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
rough.
that prison was actually on the Dead Files,
Yes.
the show
Oh,
that we
probably.
want to talk about,
Yep.
because I remember the story about the riots and the people with their heads on the
Mhm.
spikes. And unless
Mhm.
that's happened in more than one, I mean, I know
Nope.
riots have happened in more than one prison, but I don't think the heads on spikes thing is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this had-
that was like a national news story. Like they were
Mhm.
holding guards hostage for days. It was in the
Ugh.
70s and it was shut down for overcrowding. There's a
Mhm.
famous story of actually, do you know the movie Night of the Hunter by any chance?
Mm-mm.
Robert Mitchum was in it. It's an old black and white movie, but
Mm.
it's about a guy who, if you've ever seen like the tattoos of love and hate on knuckles, it comes from that
Mhm.
movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So the real
came from
guy
Tupac.
was executed there. I mean, so many prisoners were executed.
They
It's-
had
it's
over
a-
100 executions there.
for sure. Yeah, and they're all on the walls. And
Okay.
it's so interesting because the prisoners would have to make their clothes that they were going to be buried in. They had to sew them themselves and make their own
Holy
suits.
crap.
Wow.
I would have
Yeah.
been buried in a
How
blanket.
morbid.
Yeah, it
That's
is
awful.
morbid. Yeah. And then like they also have like framed on the walls all the weapons that they took from prisoners, like
Oh.
Oh my
shivs and
goodness.
just
Yeah. Wow.
I mean little tattoo guns. I mean,
Mhm.
it's so interesting. Prisons are definitely a place where you can pick up a lot of activity.
Oh, I
for sure.
bet.
Like you just go through, you walk by a cell and I will get like full body chill, like, oh
Mhm.
God. And then I'm like, well, I need to go in there and record. I just
Oh.
go in.
Mhm.
See, I
Mhm.
would get that and I'd be like, well, I'm going to go the opposite way.
Like
Don,
you
you'll
would
need to
probably run. Yeah.
you
all the
you
way
need to go to
through.
Scotland sometime and go to Greyfriars Kirkyard.
I've heard. I really want to go. I've never been to Scotland. I'm Scottish, so it has to
Oh,
happen
you are?
at some point.
Yeah.
That
I did.
kirkyard is beautiful and creepy.
Ooh,
I've
cool.
never been, but I did want to go to Scotland and meet a sexy Scottish man
Yeah.
Sure. I
and
mean,
marry him.
There's one or two there.
one or
Are you
two,
saying that with
yeah.
your husband in the room?
He is in the room.
I was gonna say, who was that guy? That's
Shadow
funny.
figure.
Yeah.
Have
Oh
you
my
been
gosh.
out to Alcatraz?
I have not been to Alcatraz.
Oh, I want to go there so bad.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Another great place, what our favorite place to go as a team is Waverly Hills Sanitarium
I've heard.
in Lexington.
Mhm.
Okay.
That is, or Louisville. Where's the horse race? Lexington? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is 60,000 square feet. It is so enormous.
Yeah.
It's like the Disneyland of paranormal stuff.
Mhm.
There's a body chute that's as long as a football field that
Oh my
my
they didn't
God.
want to wheel the
God.
tuberculosis patients
Yep.
out in front of the patients that were living.
Mhm.
And so they had this body chute that it has stairs, but it was easy for them to roll the gurneys down with the bodies on it. And you can
Wow.
go in there and it's
Nope.
so pitch black. Like it's
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
pretty
why would
crazy.
you need to light it?
It is in
They're
Louisville.
dead.
Louisville. Yeah.
Oof.
I've been there several times.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, there's so many great. We have a lot of EVPs from there, cool recordings of,
Mhm.
just unexplained things. Last time we went with Grant Wilson from
Oh, Ghost
the original
Hunters.
Ghost Hunters. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
a friend of the team, and we're like, hey,
Oh,
you want to
nice.
come? And he and his wife came, and it was fun.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I watched that show from the very beginning.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, they're
I love that
great.
show.
Yeah,
Loved
it's
loved
great.
Steve. Steve
Yeah.
getting scared of spiders every time.
Oh gosh, I know. And now we have Steve from Dead Files, who is just a treat, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure is.
That's
Yep.
a very, very nice way to say that.
We're gonna respond like Amy Allen always responded when people asked her what she thought of him. Steve is Steve.
Yep.
Yeah. 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 I used to be a huge fan of the show, and for some reason I stopped watching it. It's just, life
Mhm.
gets in the way, really. But
Yeah.
I thought it was I think it's such a unique show
Yeah.
Mhm.
because of the element of, having the two different sides of, I
Yeah.
think it does get a little off sometimes now when I've tuned in. I'm like,
yes.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, especially the last
the
part
whole
of this
last
recent
season.
season.
This last season was not
There
the
was-
best.
But we
Obsession.
watched the season, and we did an episode after each episode, and we really all started to pick up on themes, and it was like poltergeists and portals and
Yeah.
what was the
Oh
other one?
my.
And then oh my.
Yeah.
Paula's. I don't
Okay. Is this just be mean to Megan night? Because I didn't get
call
the
you
memo.
out at all.
Okay, but you were looking at me.
Oh
But
my
Yeah,
gosh.
we started picking up on a lot of things, and just like there were some stretches in this last season that were like,
Yeah.
how did this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
We know that there's people that like truly need help, and we've got at least two that one was promoting a book and one was just promoting the location.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And
It's good
And
to know
they
that your
even
place.
were told to like
Mhm.
stop bringing in unexperienced paranormal investigators, and they advertise on their website about novice paranormal hunts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was It would
I
be
mean, it is a show for entertainment. We have
Yep.
to
Yeah.
remember they have to create storylines, and
Yep.
that's just if you just see it that way, like because not that they're not real paranormal, obviously, but teams that actually go out and do this, I've never. The word demon is thrown around a lot, and we don't do demons. Like
Mhm.
if somebody emails us and they're like, there's a demon, and we're like, or just an angry guy who was an asshole in life and now
Mhm.
he's an asshole ghost.
Yep.
It's not a demon. No.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing to me is super, super rare. And it's not something that it happens very, very rarely.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're like, okay, if the
Yeah.
person thinks it's a demon, that involves like religion, and we don't get
Mhm.
into
Yep.
that really.
Yep.
In my
And
clearing,
it's-
I do prayers, but I
Mhm.
also take a lot of different ways of clearing, you know,
Mhm.
spirits from all different cultures and religions and blend them into one thing, like New Age
Mhm.
and Christian.
Mhm.
Um, it's just, I think I am more afraid of people than I am ghosts at this point.
Me too.
I just, you know,
I can't say I blame you.
I just, you know, things have changed since the pandemic. The type of emails we get are really different than they used to be.
Mhm.
Everything
How
is
so?
like,
Interesting.
so there are so many people that I feel like they just need to deal with their own shit.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
they're blaming it on a ghost, and it's like, you need to go to counseling,
Yeah.
you know?
Must be
It's,
paranormal.
Yep.
yeah, it's
It's
like
the only
we get
explanation.
half of the emails we get are people that I just feel like they are feeding into this idea or convinced that
It has to be
ghosts,
something that's not them.
it's like,
Mhm.
but you should also look at these things within yourself. And I'm not a counselor, so we
Mhm.
don't really get into that. But if they're way too deep into this kind of stuff and they know all the terms, it's kind of like, okay, like they're like, I have an elemental in my
Mm.
closet, and then I see, you know, and they're throwing out things that we've never even heard of. That means they're watching a lot of shows,
Yep.
and it's like we try not to get involved with people like that. I mean, sometimes it just happens, but like
Mhm.
people will have fights in front of us, like a husband and wife.
Mhm.
One lady like threw her wedding ring off.
Oh.
She was giving us a tour of the house, like because they wanted us to investigate. And she's kind of talking smack about her husband or whatever. And we're looking around the basement and stuff. And she's like, and then, you know, this is the storage closet and and she found liquor in there. And I guess he was sober. And so she was like, and then he comes around the corner and she's like, what is this?
Oh,
Oh,
And he's
no.
like,
no.
oh, I don't know. I haven't seen. And she's like, you know, I told
Mhm.
you, like, and so there's a full blown, I'm like, am I being punked right now? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
what's
Is this a
happening?
stage drama so that like we're not
Yeah.
recording?
Ashton?
Exactly. So we
Ashton,
did
are
not
you here?
investigate. We
Yeah.
did not. We're like, yeah, because we always like visit with them, and then we
Mhm.
go back to the team, and we all decide whether or not we want to investigate. And
Yeah.
so that's like a decision that, and some people get mad. Like if you investigate their business and they want it to be haunted, and then you tell them we didn't get anything, some people will just shut down and be like, okay, thanks. And it's like,
Anybody else just see it shoot across on Dawn's screen?
Oh,
Something
No.
just went right over your head, Dawn, over from like behind your
like
poster
above her
towards
head?
yep, towards your light.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't
That's-
see
And
that.
it was a straight line.
Okay.
Maybe it's a
Oh,
pervy
weird.
McGee.
Did it go into my head or?
No, it went it was above and then went towards your light in the back.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there was like a white something and it was pretty straight.
Hmm.
Okay.
I'll have to look at that
Awesome.
in the
Yeah.
when I'm editing it. Wow.
But
Anything anymore, I'm like, yeah, okay.
well,
Like, whatever.
we were joking as you were saying that about like people needing it to be something else because our new catchphrase is the only explanation is it's paranormal because
Shirts.
we were having, and it's on Amy's shirt right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we were watching an episode. It was a couple years ago episode, and this woman was like, "I have diabetes now. I have all of this stuff, and I've had I have a heart condition, and
And she's fighting with her husband.
fighting with her husband,
See,
and their
this is the
business
kind
was
of-
having problems, and
No.
not because their business was on, a waterfront that maybe the floor shifted and people tripped up and down steps or something.
Yeah.
But she was just like, it has
Everything
to
was
be
paranormal.
paranormal. Like, there's no other explanation. I'm like, I don't know that I've ever heard of diabetes being connected
Mhm.
to.
Well, people claim to, like, we do hear from a lot of people that they get sick.
Yeah,
They've
Sure.
been getting sick and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
like nausea and dizziness and
Well, and it can, like, Amy Allen is sick right now, and that's why she quit the show.
yeah.
Part of the
Yeah.
reason.
Mhm.
And because she said, and she explained it in a TikTok, that like because she's a physical medium, she takes on all this energy
Mhm.
and
no, for sure.
not of its negative energy, and that can really affect your immune system.
Oh,
And
sure.
then you're really susceptible to getting sick.
I mean, we've all been
with
around a
things.
negative person enough in our life that you're around them
Drains.
too long and they drain you. You get
It's,
negative, you get
yes.
short.
Yeah.
I can't imagine of some of the other energy.
It's
but
emotionally exhausting.
It was more so
True.
just all of the things this woman put on, and we're like,
Mhm.
I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
with the hallucinations and the dizziness and stuff,
Mhm.
the first thing we do when we go into a house is we check the EMF levels.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
that actually, if you have like too high of EMF, you hallucinate and
Yes.
you get headaches. Like you literally hallucinate. So we always see like, okay, your bedroom, like I have my meter on your bed and it is all the way in the red consistently. And so we go to their electrical box and we're like, okay, I mean, it's going to light up around the box, but like you need an electrician. So
Mhm.
those are the things we go to first. And
Yeah.
then we go, okay, what else? I mean, we will go through every single thing before we go, we can't explain that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so when we get EVPs, we get video things that are not orbs because orbs are dust and bugs, but
Right.
other things, then we're like, okay, well, we don't know, we don't have an explanation for this.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And we want to help them. We always ask like, what do you want to do? Do you want us to try to clear it? And we can't guarantee it, but it's your choice. Some people are fine. They're like,
Mhm.
okay, you got the name, Mary and the woman who used to live here, her name was Mary, or,
Mhm.
and we're fine with her being here, or
Or
it's grandma or
It's
something.
I'm not crazy anymore because
Yeah,
there's
it's
actually
validation.
something
Mhm.
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes people just need to know what it is.
Mhm.
It's amazing. We have a team member who is a librarian, and she is a researcher and a historian, and like she gets into all the research, and research is everything for us, and
Mhm.
that's her specialty. We
Nice.
try to have team members who have special talents
Your team sounds fun.
Yeah,
It
it does.
does.
that try to add to the team in ways. We used to have a photographer, but he moved to Salem
Mm.
with his wife that's very loves to dabble in the witchy stuff,
Sure.
which is pretty fun. But we also like people will email us pictures and video, and it's like we don't do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like our team, we're a scientific team. We can never tell you a photo. Like it's interesting, but if we didn't take the photo ourselves and
Yeah.
we can't recreate the environment in a scientific way,
Yeah.
then which is almost impossible to do outdoors, we aren't. And then people will argue with us back and forth, like, no, but don't you see? And we're like, yes, but the orb thing is a big deal. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
people see orb, but there's a very long and boring explanation from photographers about what that is.
Mhm.
And it just has to do with like a frame rates and
Mhm.
how the light is taken in to the lens. I'm just dumbing it down here, but
Thank you.
Thank you.
99% of the time, that is a bug. Those are
Mhm.
bugs and dust.
Mhm.
And the light, it's catching the light. And so the people will argue, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're not here to argue with you. We're just telling you, if we captured that footage, which we do all the time
Mhm.
on photo and videos, we completely ignore it. We toss it out. We don't even acknowledge it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But there's an orb thing. Anything from this podcast, if you guys could just pass on that orbs are dust and bugs, I would
Mhm.
just love that.
That's going to be the title of this episode.
Yeah.
Orbs,
Orbs.
Are dust and
comma,
bugs.
dust and
Dust and
bugs.
bugs.
Yeah. I mean, and they can look pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can
They
blink
can have like centers, and like you zoom in
And
and look
they-
at the inside.
and they come closer, and it can
Mhm.
look like there's a face inside.
Mhm.
I mean,
I've seen that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
And
I
they
hate to,
have like I took some recently. I was doing a video and I could see something came in and it went like this and then it turned around and went like that. I'm like, that
Mhm.
wasn't dust.
yeah.
but
I
it
mean,
probably
you never
was a
know
bug.
though. I'm not saying everything, but most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it probably was
Yeah.
a bug.
Yeah. I mean, we've had things that were like, what's that? But definitely something flew over your head. So I'm not sure what it was.
I believe you. It's fine. Sure. It's probably my
It's
little
weird.
creepy friend.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. He just wanted to be like, hey, I'm here. Everyone bend over.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone came
God.
over. Did you say he came from the restaurant? Are you
I think
talking
he
about?
came.
Do you
That's
think
the first time I heard the voice.
Okay.
Which
Was that
is
the Lexington or was that a
yeah,
different
the
restaurant?
Lexington.
Mhm.
I'm really confused about that because I don't know why they would somebody of somebody. Well, I mean, he was a person once. I don't know why he would leave because they've been there. These are ghosts that have been there a long time. Like,
Mhm.
why do you want to hitch on with me?
Maybe he
Yeah.
wanted new environment.
True, I guess. But then I have so many questions beyond that. I want to know more about what is going on the other side.
Mhm.
I believe that there is, another dimension where, these spirits exist. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's heaven. I don't know if it's, in between, but I'm tired of just hearing voices on EVPs. And like,
Yeah.
I am personally trying to find like what is next.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, okay, I've heard a million people talk to me and say, get out, like, fine. Or just like, help me. And
Mm.
I want an intelligent conversation that doesn't
Mhm.
involve a flashlight giving me answers back and forth.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
they will play with a flashlight. A mag light is like their favorite thing. You can have all this expensive equipment around, but you put a flashlight out and you're like, can you turn that on? Boom. Can you turn it off?
That
Boom.
must be easy for them to manipulate.
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe, like they didn't have electricity or batteries and everything was candle operated before.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool.
Yeah.
But I always think
I do
about
wanna have
what are the
more-
ghosts from nowadays going to be like in 100
God.
years?
Oh,
Can you
God.
turn on
Well,
some
they'll
Toxic by Britney? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
They'll just be dabbing in the corner.
Yes.
wondering
Or
why
they'll
the
all
Tide
be
Pods are
complaining
there.
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
trivial things that happened
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
Like one time on Instagram, people are making me.
I was bullied.
I had to wear a mask and it was really unfortunate.
You guys, we had a plague, and it's like, yeah, we did too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, get in line for who's had a
Exactly.
plague. All right.
Exactly. The people
not
from the
special.
Black Plague, the ghosts are like, oh God, these people, with COVID, they're like,
I
You
know.
yeah,
only knew.
we all
They're like,
died
you
from rats.
babies. I'm sorry. Have you been bit by a rat? No? Then you're fine.
They're just saying we have plague pits where you can't open them because the plague will literally come back. Like the actual plague.
Yeah. Never know.
Top that.
Yeah. I don't even know, like the whole subject of portals
Mm.
confuses me too. And I know that the shows bring that up a lot and mediums will see that. What the hell is that? Like, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying it isn't real. I just want to like, tell me more about that. Do spirits come out of a hole in the ground? Because that's what,
It's mirrors
I
that are
mean-
facing each other in my
Like your
in my-
bathroom.
in my bathroom. Yeah, we did a happy hour with our patrons about probably a year ago now.
Yeah, it was like April.
Yeah. And one of our patrons, we're sitting there and I was out in the other room where there's a bathroom behind me. She's like, Amy, I don't want to freak you out, but I'm seeing a bunch of people coming and going through your bathroom. I think they're coming in and leaving through your bathroom. And I'm like, what? And I said, that bathroom is always kind of, I mean, it doesn't feel icky or anything, but
No, it
it
doesn't.
does have two mirrors that face each other. And she was like, oh, that's it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
when the two mirrors are facing each other, it can create a portal, and
oh my
and
gosh.
the spirits can get in,
Just
and
like an
out through
infinite
there.
energy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we did see one with Cindy. Was it Cindy this year that the train tracks? Do you remember?
Yep, that was
Was that
Cindy.
the
That was her.
Tupalas?
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah, it was
they
the
had, it was literally a portal on the ground and you could see she had them draw people climbing out of it.
It was
Oh,
like in their
God.
kitchen.
Yeah.
wasn't it?
No, this one was outside. It was on the
Oh, that
train
was the
tracks.
outside one.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the train tracks was
Yeah,
right
oh.
next to the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, that's always a hotbed for anytime there's train tracks behind a
Mhm.
business that we
Really?
go to. We're like, this is an energy you are, if they manifest through basically like electrical energy,
Mhm.
they drain your batteries, they take,
Mhm.
that kind of energy that is flowing through water
Yep.
and that is flowing
Mm.
through. And if you have train tracks near water, like behind Bobby Mackey's, I don't know if you know about Bobby
Yep.
Mackey's, but
I don't.
Yep.
it's a place that's actually about an hour from Waverly Hills. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, it's just,
Welcome to the podcast.
That's all we do.
Yeah.
I got some really creepy feelings there, and I saw images in my mind that actually ended up being on a TV show. Like I saw a guy in my mind's eye. I didn't even want to go in, and I was the only one on my team that was like, this is really bad in there. Like in the basement, I saw a guy who was like, it was almost like comically dark, like a dark cloak, like a bad guy energy. And he had this this ball of energy almost, and there were like little, it looked like fireflies inside. This is all in my head that I see. And he could make it grow and get bigger and manipulate it and make it smaller, and it was terrifying.
That's scary.
It just made me so terrified. And I just got in my mind that like he said to me, like, he was so excited because it was people's fear that he had collected.
No, I'm sure.
And that was this elemental thing. And so I saw this ball of light thing in my mind. And then I happened to run into some people at a paranormal convention, and I was describing to them what I saw in my mind at Bobby Mackey's, and they go, you do know that the people from this show over here that's their big thing on this next season, is they're going to show, it's the one where they would lock themselves inside. And
is it our
is it
friend,
Paranormal Lockdown?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's
Katrina
Weissman.
Yes.
And was that Jake Osborne, or is that a different one?
No, that was
on
Nick,
with him.
Nick Groff.
Nick Groff.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. It was. Yep.
Okay. So they were at the convention, and they're like, come here, let me, it was one of their people. And I walked up, I didn't know I'm like, I saw this at Bobby Mackey's in my head, and yeah, I don't know. And they're like, we have footage of Katrina sleeping right where you're talking about on a cot. And we have on video a ball of light with little things in it floating over her for several minutes. And I'm like, scary. What?
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff that makes I just got chills thinking about the feeling I had when I saw that in my mind. So I'm obviously the one that's like over here on the skepticism side. And I'm always questioning myself. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter because it's just in my head, but then things will be validated for me through information that people say, like, oh, well, that is like, I'll describe someone and they're like, oh, what about, is this him? Here's a picture of our uncle that died. And I'm like, that is him.
Wow.
And I'll know names, but it's just spotty. It's not like it's reliable.
Yeah.
I would never want to charge people,
right?
Because I'm not good enough. I don't know. Maybe it's somebody that would, who knows, who'd come through.
It's like they're more so coming to you like, well, maybe she can help me. And rather than, because it doesn't sound like you're like sitting down and channeling, okay, I'm going to think about what's coming in. I'm going to connect to the person that's across from me. I'm going to see what's going on.
I've never tried to do that.
It's more of they're coming in and like, hey, can you, tap on the shoulder? Hey, can you help me? Do you remember, is anybody touched by an angel, or what was the other one that like, was it Jennifer Love Hewitt where
it was
like spirits would come in and
Whisper.
Ghost Whisper. Thank you.
I did watch that. Yeah.
But it's almost like that, a little bit of like, all of a sudden there's just this like dead spirit there who's like, can you tell my family I died?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The woman that show is based on she's super psychic. I can't remember her name. I think it's Mary something. But she had such an interesting thing to say about how she moves spirits on. And I thought, oh my God, that's so weird. She said that there is a light that they have a choice to go through when they pass, and people miss it because they're like too busy, like, oh, I don't know if I'm dead or, whatever reason they want to stay. And she will tell them an address of a funeral home. She'll look up the times of the funerals. And she says that another light will open during funerals, and they can hitch a ride in the light.
Oh,
And
that's
she'll
so
say,
cool.
go to Gray's
Nice.
funeral home on tomorrow night at 7:30. And she's like, so and so died. You can go through the light there, which I thought was fascinating.
So
That is really interesting.
that
Some
does
people
that
say
mean that
that's such
people
bullshit, Dawn. And I'm like, I don't know. She said it.
well, but does so you don't necessarily go to the light when you die, but sometimes at your funeral?
You can, yes. She
Okay.
thinks that claims to, I mean, she's like Teresa Caputo level of,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a show about her.
Yeah.
She says that people hang around and they wait
Mm-hmm.
and want to make sure everyone's okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And they have a choice to leave
Mhm.
during that time. And some
Okay.
people just have too many attachments. We've had a lot of spirits who they're sticking around because they've done bad things and
And they're
they are
afraid to
afraid to go to
go.
hell.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so they stay. And
Mhm.
we're like, it's okay. You know, when I do a clearing, I call all of my dead relatives to come and help me. And I also call theirs.
Mhm.
Oh.
I come to this
Nice.
space and I try to gather everyone in my mind and I try to help them.
Mhm.
And I'll get some visions and things of
Cool.
them
Yeah.
walking through and maybe sometimes not. And I'm like, well, I hoped it worked.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
that
hate
works.
to dip out, but my son's getting sick, or he is sick, and so I can hear him struggling upstairs. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Dawn, it was so nice to meet you. Please
Yeah.
keep chatting. I'm just gonna dip out, but I
I
didn't
just
want to
want to say
leave.
before you leave, like I feel like I'm so proud of like but just women in media who are doing something like this. It's great. Like keep doing what you're doing. And
Thank
I just
you.
wanted to encourage you, like
That's
strong
great.
women in media, like keep doing
Keep
it.
going.
You're
But
hilarious.
you are too. Stop it. It was so nice to meet you, Dawn.
Yeah,
Thank
nice
you
to
so
meet you
much for
too.
the time too.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, keep chatting.
Yeah.
And I will talk to you later. Bye.
Okay.
Hi, Megan.
Bye.
Do you guys go out and do investigations? Do you like, I apologize. I listened to a couple of episodes, but
Oh.
I just didn't know how much you are into.
We don't
I
we
would
don't
love
know.
to.
I would love to too, but we have
Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah.
I did get to go out at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park.
Yeah.
So
been there.
last August in 22, they had just opened up a Stephen King tour at
Yeah.
night. So I went out, it was the 9 o'clock tour. We went into, so you hear all the stories like how Stephen King wrote the book and like
Yeah.
so cool. Just and how much he hated the movie.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that's too bad.
Totally
how
different
they
story
how they
than
had
his
to
book.
yeah, how they had to plant a maze there because everybody kept coming up and wondering where the shrub
hedge
maze,
maze.
the hedge maze was. And the first one that they planted, they got a variety that elk really like, and the elk ate it to the nubbins.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So they had to plant it again with
Yeah.
a different varietal that elk didn't like as much.
Yes.
But then we went into, it was like the men's quarters for like their summer help, what it used to be. It smelled so bad in there, but
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we're gonna put a volunteer into the bathroom. And I was like, okay. And everyone's like, Amy, you're going. I'm like, it was just hot in there. There was like, I was like, okay. I mean, if anybody's got good intentions and wants to talk, like I'm open, here we
Yeah.
go. But they did have a oh, what's the one that scans through all the radio stations?
Oh, spirit box.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
And so we sat in the front room and I just asked a couple questions and then there was a response and the two guides looked at each other like, wait, what? Did you just get somebody to come through? So we sat, it was somebody's name and I can't remember what the name was, but
Yeah.
it was like, is someone here? And we heard a yep. And then there was a name that came through and I was like, can we stay all night, you guys?
Yeah.
I was on a work trip.
We do the spirit box, but we do actually from Estes Park. It's called the Estes method.
Okay.
Which is we the person that's listening, we're kind of annoyed by the
Mhm.
I built something that's supposed to, it's like guitar pedals and has a noise gate I put together to filter out that noise. And
Oh, cool.
sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But my team members hate, like, there's some of them that just can't stand it. So in order to like maybe filter out what you think someone is saying or do a cool experiment, we will have someone plug in headphones to the spirit box. I usually do it and listen and then blindfold myself. So I'm cut off from the questions. I don't hear what they're asking. And so they will ask questions and then I will just say whatever I hear, but I don't know what they're asking and I don't know when they're asking. So sometimes we can have full dialogues, you know, which is, or things will just be like, that is too weird. You know, it's kind of just like a fun
that's cool
thing. We usually write up a transcript for people if we do it. We're very thorough with our reports that we do for people. And
nice.
You guys didn't talk about this recently, did you? On your radio show? Because I'm remembering somebody talking about this. That the only other thing is maybe, and that's why we drink, might have talked about this.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm just like,
I mean,
you said it and I'm like, wait a minute, I've heard this before, but.
Yep. It's the team from the Stanley Hotel that started
cool.
doing that. And so now people will do double Estes method where you'll have 2 spirit boxes, 2 people listening, and they'll talk to each other. Like they'll just call out what they hear and say. And sometimes it's just uncanny what's going on because you don't ask questions. They just say stuff. Yeah. And it's like, you can get maybe 2 different spirits. I get so many that it's overwhelming sometimes. And I'm like, none of this makes sense. But you know, it's like, I can feel almost people like pushing through, trying to get through to talk.
Oh, interesting.
Like they want their chance and their people. It's just like life. Like some people are just loudmouths and they're like, okay, dude, you know. Or they'll tell people. The most interesting EVPs to me are spirits who are talking to each other about us.
Oh,
like, here they come. You know, we get that a lot to Lexington, like, here they come, be quiet.
That sounded like a little bit of what the video that you sent to Amy of the, because there was a few of them, and I know obviously it was time spliced together and that sort of stuff, but there was a few of them that just seemed like it was like, oh, they're talking about something else that's going on here. But there was definitely the one where it was like, you could hear something, but you weren't sure what it said. It almost said like, can he move? Because then the next one said, he will. And then it was right before the one that says like, I love you. And it had the name, but it didn't know the name after it.
Yeah. I also sensed where he was. That case was really interesting. That city, Rush City is where that's from. And that has a lot of, that Rush City has a lot of weird stuff going on for some reason. Yeah. And there's a hotel there that's very, very old. That's really a cool place to go if you're a paranormal investigator. But this place, this is the one where I saw, like, one of the first times I started seeing people. I saw a guy who, if I say the BTK killer, do you know who that guy looks? Okay.
Yep.
He looked like that to me, but he wasn't. I'm just describing like what, like nothing to do with the BTK killer. But I'm like, I just saw him and I saw like him looking over his shoulder, and I got the name Robert.
Okay.
And you know, we're there and we went to do the preliminary investigation just to talk to the folks, and you know, they go through everything that's happened, which was a lot. And I said, do you know anybody who looks like, you know, balding in the middle, glasses, that they're always looking over the top, they like to drink, named Robert? And they're like, I'm like, or Bobby. And they're like, yeah, my uncle just died, named Bobby. And the mother of the grandma, which would have been the mom of Robert, was there. And she was just like, oh my God, you know, crying. People get emotional. They got out some photo albums and showed me. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, that is him.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a spitting image of what I saw. And he showed me so much. That guy was communicating with me. I saw full scenes of his childhood.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
He was a drinker. He was very sad. yeah, it was just one of those it was one of the first times where I felt like I really helped an investigation, because we are obviously the scientific team out there that's skeptical, and we don't add this stuff.
Yeah.
So if I come up with something, my team, like, I do not usually say anything unless it's going to help. And if it does help, if it leads us in a certain place, fine, but we definitely don't rely on it, you know?
Yeah. Do you ever get like a gut feeling like, ooh, I've got to say this?
Yes. And I say that. I will say it. I'm like, you got to say this. You got to, you're feeling this, and, you know, this needs to be spoken. So
I can relate to that part, because I don't see things or anything like that, but every once in a while I'll get this, like, you need to tell this person this.
Yes.
And I'll be like, I don't know why, or like, I just know like I can connect to you, but this is something you needed to hear right now. And a lot of times people will say, oh, I really needed to hear that. Or like, people open up to me for the dental hygienist tells me her life story.
And you're like, I can't, oh, my mouth. And you're like,
Yep.
Yeah. I think that so these abilities that I have that are like, obviously I don't care enough about them to work on it. It's so sad. I'm so lazy. But I think everyone can do this in varying degrees. They just, if they worked on it or something, maybe. Like, I don't think I'm special is what I'm saying. You know, I don't know.
Well, I think that a lot of us see and hear things and we go, oh, that was weird, and then ignore it.
Yeah.
And like, and I think the more you like lean into that and they're like, I just saw this vision I had, and this name came up, and I get stuff like that every once in a while. I'll get up and I'll speak it into my phone, or I'll write it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then later I get up in the morning and I'll Google it, and it's a thing. Like, I can't remember specifically, but there was one where it was like, it was a name something storm. And I had dreamed about this storm.
Yeah.
The whatever named storm. And I'd never heard of it before. And I got up in the morning and I Googled it, and it was a real thing.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
So I think if you just kind of do it more and like pay attention to it more,
absolutely,
it happens like, more often.
The latest one, I didn't write it down, which is terrible. I try to write them down now just so that I can make connections with people and ask them, hey, do you know anyone named, you know? But I got this vision of this woman, and it was a murder case that was, and then I just started getting like South Carolina, you know, or whatever. And then I would just get little bits and pieces here and there. And I started to make connections in very strange ways with other things that were told to me. And so it was like a full story. And then I found it online, like it had been solved. But I'm like, what the hell good does that do? I want to help people that have unsolved cases.
Right.
I'm like, awesome. So I just Googled in my head. You know?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
That's cool.
Okay, I'll have to ask both of you. Do you ever I'll do this sometimes when I'm like falling asleep, or when I'm, I've woken up in the middle of the night and going back to sleep, but I'll close my eyes and I will just get a rundown of faces coming at me. Just
That's
flashing.
What happens to me.
I just see faces, and they morph and they change. But I'm like, and it's not every time, but it's usually in that time of like falling asleep. And I think, I'm like, oh, this must be what everybody sees or what everybody does. But now talking with what you're saying, I'm like, is that not normal?
No, that's what happens. Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes one will just focus, like, or I'll just see someone. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So see, we're one and the same here. Yeah. And you too.
I don't have them flooding, but I will see a face. And it's always in that time when I'm just starting to go to sleep, and I see, like, I'm staring at my eyelids or whatever, and I'm seeing like things will morph into things and then fade away. Yeah. But it's not like a barrage. I don't get it.
Sometimes I get
think of a name.
I haven't, but I should try to do that. Yeah.
And then write it down and describe what they look like. And who knows, maybe we're all psychics.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we're all witches.
I'd be cool with that. There was
I've been called it
one
enough.
time when I was trying to I'm really interested in like learning who my spirit team is, my spirit guides, right? So I was laying in bed and going, I really want to know who my spirit guides are. I was just laying there and had some like dreamy music on. And I saw some faces come in and out, and one came up and went like right here.
Oh, wow.
And then she went like this. And then she said, "You can call me." And I can't remember the name. I wrote it down somewhere. And she said, "You can call me so and so." And then she disappeared.
Wow.
And I was like, well, that must be one of them.
Wow.
I can still
saw
see her
one of
face in
mine
my
when I was a
mind right
kid.
now.
Mhm.
Oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
you what?
I saw one of mine when I was a kid.
Really?
Because I've
Oh.
asked Jenny about that. So where we used to live up in Coon Rapids, it was our house. There was a house next to us, and then there's a little bit of a clearing, and then like a two townhouse thing. And then so we had maybe like a third of a mile to the corner of our street, and we would go up and we'd bike up it all the time. And there's big hill. And I was maybe 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that age range. And I was biking up the hill and bike back, and I was biking again. And I saw a woman who was very indigenous looking, long, like black hair, had a large husky with her. And she had like a red shirt on and jeans, and the dog was off to her side. And they went and stood. So I saw them walking down the sidewalk. Then they went and stood about 10 yards off in kind of the open yard area. So I went back up to my house, and I came back and they were gone. And there was no way they could be out of my sight
Yeah.
in that time that it took for me. I mean, we're talking a quarter to a third of a mile, not even
Yeah.
that by the time I turned around and came back, because I was like, I want to go pet that dog.
Yeah.
Typical Amy thought.
Just gone.
And I looked up and down the street because they had come towards me. And so I was like, did they go back across? And, I can see down the street and either side and across the street, there's nowhere they could have gone. And so I asked Jenny about it one time. I'm like, have I met any of my guides? And she's like, yep. And she's like, and one had a dog with it. I was like, yep.
Now,
And
who's
so-
Jenny? Can Jenny help me?
Potentially.
Probably.
She's the psychic intuitive I mentioned earlier.
Oh, great.
So I saw her after we lost our Gordon setter 6 years ago.
Oh.
It was a couple weeks later, and I went with my dad. And one of the first things, my dad had gone first, and then one of the first things she said to me when I sat down, she channels. So she asks your permission to channel, and she said, "Can I channel?" And then she lets you know, like, everything is probability and possibility, but you still have free will.
Mhm.
And she just started laughing. She goes, "They're not even going to let me get started." And she's like, "There are dogs running everywhere." And she's like, "There's one who he just came in looking for your dad. He's gray with like a black or brown face, or he just
Aw.
looks muddy." Well, she's like, "He has claimed your dad as his." Our German wire hair he looked like a short hair, but he had a brown face and a gray and white body.
Wow.
And she's like, he's looking for him. So I had to tell him that he's in the next room. So she's
Yeah.
like, he sat next to him and said, "He's mine."
Wow.
And so, and he was my dad's dog.
Oh,
and
that's
then-
so sweet.
Then she's like, "There's another one coming. He's up, he's down, he's up, he's down. Where is he?" He's like, "He's black, he's brown." "No, he's black, he's brown." He was a Gordon setter, so he's black and tan.
Mm.
And she goes, "And he's in, and he's laying at your feet, and he's looking at you. Now he's laying down, now he's out again." And she's like, "He's coming back soon, but he just can't sit still."
Oh
And
my gosh.
so I have British Labs now, and my girl Talon was bred shortly after Boone passed away, and we have her daughter. But before I went to go pick Kiri up, I was looking at pictures of Boone, and I looked out into the backyard, and Boone had these hidey holes in our yard. Like, he would go and like hide through things, and there was 2 cardinals sitting right at the spot of one of his hidey holes. And I was like, okay, yep, okay.
There's a really big, I hate to say a market for, but people are really more open to communicating with
Mhm.
spirit animals. Like,
Yes.
not like, "You're my spirit animal," but like,
But
honestly.
Your animal who's a spirit.
Animals.
Yep.
Yeah. And like, I know, like, I really think that animals can see spirits, it's just something we can't explain,
Yep.
And also, I do think they stick around. I think that that's such a comforting thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like they're waiting for you,
Mhm. Yeah.
And she told me, so I lost my Briggs back in May, and he was my heart dog. Like, he was my,
Oh.
He was my everything. And I have his great grandson is laying next to me. And like, he hasn't left my side tonight. That's Wesley, who I was like, he might join us at some point. He likes to jump in my lap, make sure everything's okay, and then leave.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
And I have talked to Jenny about him before too, because I was like, he's got mannerisms like Briggs. And I was not planning on getting a puppy. Long story. But he needed some help when he was a baby. He's Kiri's puppy. So he was a solo puppy. He couldn't walk. So we had to fix that and fix the way his chest was going. And I wasn't planning on him. And I think if I hadn't got him, it would have been a lot harder for me to get through losing Briggs.
Oh.
Because I asked Jenny, I said, is it possible for two things to have part of the same soul? And she said, yes, it's soul splitting. And Wesley definitely has part of Briggs in him. And I 100% believe that Wesley was brought to me knowing that Briggs wasn't going to have a year left.
Oh yeah. I think that they choose us, really.
Mhm.
You know, we think we're choosing animals. Like if we go to
Yep.
a shelter
Humane
or something,
Society.
and it's like they're
Mhm.
choosing us.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
I always tell people, and we're just going down a rabbit hole, right? But I always tell people, because I get people a lot. I've helped a lot of people with like raising puppies and that sort of stuff. And people who are just like, I can't get a replacement dog. I'm like, a dog is never a replacement. Another animal is never a replacement
Yeah.
because you've actually lost a piece of your heart. That's why it hurts so
Yes.
much and it's hard to heal. But they either are watching over us and send us what we need, or they come back to us when we need it to help us heal and just, move
Make sure we're
forward. But
okay.
it's not a replacement. It is a completely different dog
Yes.
or cat or bird or whatever is your fancy. But they were sent to us by,
The one that
our
left.
previous one because of what we needed.
For sure.
That's what I
I
believe.
actually don't have any pets right now for the first time in my
Oh.
life
Mm.
because I can't handle losing another
so
one. I
hard.
just can't go through the heartbreak.
Mhm.
You know, it's just like, nope, I can't do it because it was just, I lost both my cats.
Yeah.
When I moved to Minnesota and I was all alone, it's so sad. No, but they were the only piece of back
Yeah.
home that I had.
Yeah.
My daughter's grown, so like she has her own life. She's a tattoo artist, but she, like, I had my cats and it was my one connection to who I felt like
Yeah.
when you first move somewhere by yourself, if you've ever done that, it's like you feel a little lost. And
Yeah, I
so I'm
imagine.
trying to make friends, like, and it's not easy as a middle-aged woman to make friends. But so the cats like died within a month of each other.
Oh.
And I just it was so hard.
Oh.
I was like, didn't have a vet yet. It was like
Mhm.
emergency vet situation.
Oh.
Just,
Oh, I'm so
it was
sorry.
just bad. And then the other one like started to get sick like a month after. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she just wanted to be, with
Mhm.
her. And I don't know. Sorry to bring the party
Oh,
down.
no.
No.
I already did. I already did.
That's
No,
okay.
no. But it's like, I honestly don't think, maybe if I like retire someday,
Yeah.
maybe I'll have a lap dog or something. But
Yeah.
it's
Do you
so
ever-
hard.
Do you ever feel your cats like when you're really
Yes.
upset or just like, I really need something and just like, oh, you're here.
I hear this all the time from people who are clients of ours and I feel like I will feel them jump up on the bed.
Yep.
Mhm.
And like, I swear I physically feel it.
Mhm.
Like, and I feel like they're with me. So maybe they walk around, and if they can get rid of a creepy ghost, I'd appreciate it.
Get rid of Mr. Pervy over there.
Oh God. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I do feel that they're still with me and but I love other people's animals. I'm always like asking to dog sit and
Oh,
Uh-huh.
you can come dog sit for us anytime.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well,
We
if
have
you ever
4.
want to meet up at a brewery or something, I've got a few that like to get pets. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Love furry friends. I can just be the aunt.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I
Dog
say
aunt.
about kids.
Yeah.
I can just be the auntie.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
And if you annoy me enough, then I will just give your children lots of loud toys.
Yeah.
Loud toys that make lots of noises.
That's right. Yeah.
Toys and
candy.
noises.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lots of sugar.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
definitely.
Well, I have to run because I
Yeah.
have to plan tomorrow's show.
Oh,
Yeah. But we're
Sounds good.
actually going to be broadcasting at Woofington.
I
That's
saw
right.
that you were going to be. I listened to your show today for the first time.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't usually listen to the radio,
Yeah.
and I haven't
I don't-
listened to talk radio in forever. And I was like listening
Oh
to
yeah,
it today,
happy
and I'm
1
like,
year
this is-
anniversary.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
happy
yeah.
anniversary.
It's the
And I
show
was like, well,
anniversary.
this is basically a podcast. It's
It
just
is.
3 hours instead of, well, sometimes ours are 3 hours. Depends how long we end up talking, but
Yeah. We turn it,
So it was
every
fun.
day. Like well, we both do. Like we put it online. So our show becomes a podcast because we upload it as a podcast every
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
all 3 hours. So people subscribe to it. And yeah,
Yeah.
we just
Cool.
take out all the commercials.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
I
Some of
always
them.
listen because then it helps me. I'm like, okay, this is where I am in my day if it's this segment.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
do dream interpretations. I'll be doing that tomorrow. So
Mhm.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I'll listen to
Yeah.
that.
yeah, it's
Cool.
it'll be at 1:30 Central.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, Dawn,
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
This was a
anytime.
blast.
If
Oh,
you want
yeah,
to talk
we'd
to me
love to
again,
have
just
you
let me
back.
know and I'll pop on.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back because I had a whole list of questions, and so did Amy, and I don't think we answered all
We
of them. I mean, I
hit
asked
a
all
couple
of
of
them.
them. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, anytime. Honestly, I'm serious
Okay.
about that. So
Excellent.
go women in media.
Yay.
Well, you keep paving and rocking the way for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on.
Thank
Okay,
you.
girls.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks,
So
Dawn.
nice to meet you.
Nice
You
to meet you as
too.
well.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
She's great.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, we can be friends.
Yeah, let's do that. I like her. We could
Mhm.
we definitely should have her back too.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Next week, we are joined by Tony Shapiro, who you may remember from our last episode, where Amy P. expertly read Tony's very scary true experience with her first apparition when she was just a tot. Was she 4, I think?
4.
4 or 5? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiny. Oh, yeah.
Horrifying.
Yeah. And that was a fun episode too.
Oh, yeah.
With I had a
Some
little
plot twist.
I had a little hiccup in that I had to go rescue my mother in the middle of recording.
You missed a great opportunity for a rhyme. You had a little hiccup because you had to do a pickup.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, so I was not in that entire episode, but that's okay. These ladies did a great job talking with her. So that's next week. And we hope you will join us then. Thank you and a goodbye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.